Hello and welcome to the April TCL Teen Bakealong. I am Marilyn, your teen librarian, and this month we are going to be making lemon butter cookies. When it hits April is about when I start thinking about like citrus and fruit for like springtime type flavors. I'm originally from the Midwest, so about now is around when we start getting a lot warmer temperatures. But today it's a high of 40, so a slightly different spring vibe than what I'm used to, but that doesn't mean we can't make something delicious with a nice sharp little taste of lemon. And who doesn't love a cookie? Plus we get to put some little sprinkles on top of it that'll bake on it, make it look all fancy. Excellent. So, let's everyone tie on our aprons and let's get started. So here are all the tools and ingredients that you will need. All your dry ingredients are going to come just in one bag. I've already just mixed them together in a smaller bowl. The sugar and butter and applesauce are going to go into one larger bowl. So I've put them in there because you're going to be adding your dry ingredients into this once you get it all mixed up. We've got our milk. We have a whisk for creaming our butter and sugar together, and then a spatula for getting it all mixed. Our extracts and our sprinkles. Now sprinkles are technically optional. You can just put those on your cookies before you bake them and they kind of get into the cookie a little bit. They're just nice and tasty and fun. Obviously there will be some included in your kit, but if that's not your jam, you don't have to, or if you have some other sprinkles that you like, you can add those as well. But once we got everything all gathered here, let's get to mixing. So as is always the first step with cookies, we're going to cream our butter and sugar together. Yours will obviously be coming at room temp, but I had to put mine in the microwave for about 10 seconds, 5 seconds, and then move it, kind of give it a little squish, and then another 5 seconds, just because this unsalted butter, it just ends up harder than salted butter. So we're going to, yeah, there we go, that's what we want. So ultimately we're going to use a whisk, but we're gonna start with a spatula and see where that gets us. So we're going to cream this, which means just mix it all together until it gets nice and light and fluffy, and then we will be back. All right, we're back. That took me, if you want to do it, it should take about 5 to 7 minutes is what the recipe says. You want to use a fairly stiff spatula. I tried to use a whisk and it didn't quite work, at least not for this. But this is about what you want. You see how it's lighter in color and it's got that fluffiness to it, which is exactly what we want. So now is when we add in our wet ingredients, which is our applesauce in place of egg, our milk, and the lemon extract. And then we're going to mix this all together. Now this might, be careful when you're first mixing this, because as you can see, obviously the butter and the liquid don't really want to play nice together, which is fine for at first. Like you'll get it, you can see it, yeah. And I might pull the whisk out for this one. That's not too bad. Woo! See what I mean? There we go. This is the spatula I tried before, but it was too soft, so it wasn't giving me the result that I needed. There we go. I will say too, this smells quite good because you've got that applesauce smell and then you have the lemon. Okay, you might just have to resign yourself to the fact that you're going to get a little bit messy mixing this together. I'm going to see if the whisk does this any more kindly here. Oh yeah, okay, that's much better. There we go. Okay, so start with a spatula, go with a whisk. It's not going to look nice and pretty, like it's not going to become, at least not when it's just in this state, because of the way that butter is wanting to behave with the applesauce, or not behave rather, but that's okay, it doesn't have to look pretty. There we go. Alright, nice and combined. Now Now we can start adding our dry ingredients. We're going to add these gradually. So what I'll do is probably in about thirds or so. There we go. So add some of that. And we'll start too with the whisk for this, but as the dry gets more mixed in together, it's going to get harder to mix. So you're going to want to use a spatula eventually. Oops, whoops. There we go. Yeah, you can see it's already getting a little harder to mix. There we go. Look at that. That's nice. Now we're getting a dough here. Look at that. It's just so cool how that strange, weirdly textured liquidy mix could come together and make an actual dough. Okay, there we go. I'm going back to the spatula now because we need to be scraping down the sides of the bowl too since we've got all that flour in here. Whoop. That's fine. You're going to get that. Nope. There we go. Whew. All right. There we go, that's nice. Oh, perfect. Okay, we've just about got it all mixed. There we go, to satisfaction. Perfect. All right, we have dough. So, because this is it's a butter cookie, but it's also a sugar cookie, we need to make sure that our dough is nice and cold. So you're going to cover this with some plastic wrap or what have you, or if you have another bowl you can put it into, that works too. I'm just going to leave it in this bowl. You're going to cover it and you're going to chill it for, we're going to go with 1 hour, but perhaps more because we want it to be really, really cold. So we'll start with an hour and then I'll see how firm it is and then we will go from there. So let's go put this in the fridge. You can take a little nap, do some dishes, watch a movie, all that jazz, and we'll be back. Alrighty, it's been about an hour and a half. I checked the dough in the fridge at about an hour and it still just felt a little bit too warm. This is going to be behaving a little bit differently than most like butter or sugar cookie dough because we're using applesauce instead of eggs, which is fine, but that's also why I wanted to let it chill for a little bit longer, just so we get the, we get that cool temperature so it doesn't spread so much. So, the next thing we're going to do is take it out of the fridge and roll it out flat so that we can cut into it. So there's our dough. And this was a gift for Christmas, a little cat rolling pin, so that's what I'm going to use. So first thing, let's get it out of there. Oh yeah, there's not a lot of give, which is what we want in a sugar/butter cookie dough like this. Okay, you want to try and use your hands as little as possible, he says, using his hands, but we're still kind of getting it into a bit of a shape. There we go. So, what I think I'll actually do is use my rolling pin. So now I do have a rolling pin. You don't actually need one. Honestly, if you've got we're going to lightly flour that, it's a little sticky. If you've got a bottle anything like glass, like something like this, that is in a general shape enough to roll. You might see in like fancy French chefs and stuff, you'll see them use like wine bottles or bottles of stuff to roll out things like this, which is totally fair. So we're rolling these out very, very thin, which is why I'm doing it kind of a little bit, kind of changing angles here to kind of keep things even. You obviously don't really need a precise shape since we're going to be cutting these out. But we want it to be about 1/8 of an inch. And again, you don't have to be super precise with that. Well, once I've cut one, I'll show you. Okay. Oh, I've also got our oven preheating to 350. You can see that getting a little bit sticky. Just put on a little bit more flour. Okay, I think that's about right. So I'm going to try and give us a cat design. Not really working very well, is it? There we go, not too bad. A little bit. There we go. Okay, that didn't really, whatever. Alrighty, now we're going to cut out our cookies. I have, somewhere, there it is. This is technically a biscuit cutter. You can use anything. You can use a glass that's about this. This is a 2 inches around. So again, a glass, a mug, a lid, a jar, whatever. I just happen to have one. So we've got our cookie sheet ready here. And mine is lined because it's just kind of always lined, but you don't have to. Oh boy, okay. So I'm going to cut all of them out first. Oops. You'll see these scraps here. I'm going to toss them back into our bowl to let them chill. Oh, there we go. I'll just put that right on there. And these shouldn't spread too much, so you can put them pretty close to each other on the cookie sheet. If they do spread a little bit, that's fine though. We don't necessarily need them to look totally pretty and perfect and presentable. There we go. And if you have any cookie cutters that look pretty, like if you got like flowers or maybe some leftover like Christmas ones, you can obviously cut out little shapes like that too. Okay, so once you've got all your shapes cut out, we're gonna move the scraps. And don't toss them, because we can obviously just chill those and roll them back out to make more. There we go. But you can see the dough got a little bit warm, which makes sense. It's a chill day, but it's a little bit warm in here. So I'm gonna see if I can get us a spatula to get this. Oh, a little bit. There we go. Okay. And so, what I'm gonna do, and once you've got all your cookies out, take out your sugar and just, whoops, there we go. Perfect. Sprinkle it on top, just like that. Now these are going to go into the oven for about 8 to 9 minutes. They might need a little bit less, but so I'm going to start with 7 and then we're going to see. So I'm going to get the rest of these onto our tray and then we're going to bake them for 7 minutes at 350 and then we'll see where we're at. Alright, it has been 8 minutes, so we're going to check on our cookies and see how they turned out. See how they're looking. Ooh! Look at that! Alright, I think they still need... Ooh. I think they're probably good, actually. So with cookies, especially like this, you don't actually want them to be brown. You want them to just be like just about barely set, and that's about what we got. You can see on the edges like that it's just a little bit solid. So we're gonna take these out of the oven, let them cool, and then we'll give them a taste. All right, welcome back. So I left these on their cookie sheet for about 15 minutes. I went to take them off at about 3 to 5 minutes after they'd gotten out of the oven or so, and they were still really, really tender. So it felt like they were gonna kind of stick to the tray, and I really didn't want that to happen. Which is a good sign for us, honestly, because we want a tender cookie, and that's part of the draw of these guys. So I also have some with sugar and some without, partly because just since the dough was still really warm, I wanted to get them into the oven fairly quick to avoid too much spreadage, which was not a problem. So we're gonna try one with sugar here. It's really good. It's the lemon especially that I think really gets me. I just really love lemon flavor. And then the plain ones are really good too, but that sugar up there adds a really nice crunch. But if you didn't want to do the sugar, you could do, these really lend themselves to like a glaze. You could do like a buttercream. You could do a flavored glaze. Like with this lemon, if you made like a blueberry glaze, like just a powdered sugar and liquid glaze, you could do a little bit of buttercream. You could even do royal icing if you're feeling super fancy, which I recommend, but you do some research on that. Royal icing is a bit of a beast, but it's very, very fun. Oh, so, pardon me. You could also, I think, because that extract is very nice, but if you had any lemons around your house, you could probably put in a little bit of lemon zest, either into the cookies or into a glaze if you wanted to make one of those. Give you a really nice extra pop of lemon flavor. I just love lemon. I don't really think you can have too much. So I hope you enjoyed this month's Bakealong. I hope you make some lovely lemon cookies, and I hope you have fun doing some decorations, because these very much, especially these plain ones, really lend themselves to decorations. Take them to Easter if that's your thing. Or just eat them all yourself, because they're very addicting and very easy to eat. So thank you very much, and we will see you in the next one.